Hey, welcome back to the series. In this episode, we are going to see how to install Docker because we have done a lot of videos so far in this series, but it's time for us to install Docker on our local machine so that we can run this whole application or Node.js API on Docker. So it's very important for you to understand why we need Docker and why we need to install Docker on our local machine. So it doesn't matter whether you are a seasoned developer or not. The Docker will help from seamless environment setup to consistent deployments, and it actually provides a powerful solution to some of the most common challenges as developers that we face every day. So let's look at this simple example where we deploy our application into the server so that we can serve that application to the internet. So imagine if you lose any file while moving or migrating all your files into the server, so your application doesn't function properly. So it is very difficult for you to track all the files that you need to deploy into the server every time. So maybe when you start at the beginning, maybe you might have one or two files or maybe 10 files, but as you grow, it is very difficult to track all the files that you need to deploy into the server. So when you have a Docker, all you need to do is you just need to create a Docker image from all the files to run the application, and you can actually run this Docker image as a container wherever the Docker environment is. For example, you can take this Docker image, run it as a container on Google Cloud or AWS Amazon Services or Microsoft Azure. You can deploy this you can deploy this image wherever you want to, provided there should be a Docker environment available there. So it is very easy for you to migrate all the files or your application into production environment or multiple environments um, with one Docker image. So that way it will be easy for you to migrate your application into server every time. And that is not the only solution, and it provides a lot of other um, solutions as well to the developer. So let's get into installation. So first of all, we need to install Docker Desktop if you want to run Docker on your local machine. So the Docker Desktop is available for both Windows and Mac, and you can actually see there are so many use cases where you can use Docker, and it is secure from start, and you can manage the images in the Docker Desktop itself, and also you can build Kubernetes ready applications as well. So based on your OS, you can actually install the Docker Desktop. Let's click on that button. So once installed, so I'm actually installing this on Mac right now. So if you have a Windows machine, you can actually do it. You can fast forward to the Windows setup. So right now we are doing on Mac. So let's once we move this Docker into applications, let's open this Docker. The first thing we need to do is we just need to agree to their yeah, let's accept their terms, and you can go through if you want to. Once that is done, you can just use recommended settings, or we can just change those settings while installing. It's up to you. I'm choosing the recommended settings. Once that is done, either you can create the account, Docker Hub account, where you can actually store Docker images, or you can skip it directly, you can use it. So this is the Docker Desktop where you can see the Docker documentation as well, and also it comes with example Docker images and containers, and here is the images, and this is the container, the example container. And once the Docker Desktop is installed, you can actually check your terminal whether the Docker is working or not, and you can see the list of images by putting Docker images. and we can pull the Docker, any Docker image from Docker Hub, public Docker Hub, with Docker pull, the whatever the name, that Docker image name. Once the pull is completed, you can actually check again with the Docker images so that you can see two images right now. Go to the images. Yep. So we just pulled that node, node.js. So that's why we have seen two images and other images. And this is the example container that comes with Docker Desktop. If you hit that IP, and you can see the container is running on our machine, and we can access that example project through web as well. And one more thing we want to look at is volumes. We use volumes to persist across container restarts. Whenever you delete the container, it will all the data will be lost with that container. So if you use volumes, the data persists across container restarts. And also we can have extensions, and we can install any extension that you want, and you can use it in the Docker desktop itself. And we have seen how we can install Docker desktop on Mac. Let's see how we can do that in Windows. So let's go to the same page, and based on the OS, let's download the Docker desktop. It takes some time for it to download, but it's the same process. It's going to be the same process that you need to follow. Let's wait until the download is completed. So once completed, you can click on it and go to the downloads page and double click on it, and just follow the prompts so that you can install Docker desktop on your machine, on your Windows machine. I think it's already installed on my machine, but all you need to do is just follow the prompts and just finish the setup. So it is saying existing installation is up to date, so that means it's already there. So if you are installing for the first time, all you need to do is just follow the prompts and install it. So after that, we need to install WSL, which is Windows Subsystem for Linux. So first we need to install that with WSL update command, so that you can start using Docker on Windows. So when you hit this command, it is going to take some time to install WSL on your Mac, on your Windows. So let's wait. Okay, we're almost done. So once this is completed, you can just close the Docker desktop window and reopen it. It should start working. Yeah, let's close this and click on it again, and it should start working. So as you can see, we have seen already the Docker desktop on Mac. It's the same thing, and there is no default images and containers here, and there are some walkthroughs, and there are some sample documentation. There is no default container. So let's hit the command on PowerShell Docker so that we can verify whether the Docker is there or not. Yes, we can see the output. So let's pull some image. So we're going to pull nginx image. So once you run the command docker pull nginx, it will actually look for that particular Docker image in the Docker Hub, and it will pull, and and it will save that into your local machine. Once that is pulled, you can actually see that this particular image in the Docker desktop images section. Okay, now you can list that images with Docker images. Yep, we have that nginx image. So as you can see, you can actually see that in the under images section as well. Now we have an image right now, and we can create a container out of it. All you need to do is you need to run this command docker run, and you need to give the name of the container and the port, which port it is actually listening to or running, and you have to map that internal port to the output, sorry, outside, and we are using the image nginx. So there is completely different episode to explain everything in this command, but all you need to understand is we are just running the docker image that we just pulled with the docker run command, and you can actually see that in the under container section. So we pull the image and we are running that image as a container, and when you hit localhost, it is actually running on port 80. So that's why when you hit localhost, you can actually see welcome to nginx welcome page. So that is how you work with images and container. So we have seen a sample project, how you can pull Docker image and how you can run Docker container out of that image. And also you can list what are the containers that are running on your machine with the Docker PS. So you can stop the container with Docker stop. So the container name is web server here. That's why you need to give the container name. So that's why it will it will stop that particular container, and you can remove that container with the docker rm command. And all those steps you can do that from the Docker desktop itself. You can start or stop from the Docker desktop itself. You don't have to use these command line. So we're going to remove the image with Docker RMI. So RMI is nothing but remove image, and you need to give the image name as well. Now if you list the images, there is no that image that we pulled, and the same result you can see on the Docker desktop itself. So that's how you need Docker to install. You need Docker desktop on your machine to run Docker containers or create Docker images. So thank you for watching, and we will see more content regarding Docker in the coming episodes. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.